Okay, welcome back. I got the Friday off. It's handle assembling time. So, let me bring you up to speed on what I've done here. I had some pin stock. I went ahead and cut, three 3/16 inch nickel silver pins. And I went ahead and cut these handle slabs down. Went ahead and drilled the holes. I mean, there's no sense in me moving that camera around all over for just that. So, went ahead and got them ready to go. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to go ahead and apply them to both sides of this tang. Went ahead and pre-fit the pins so I know they're going to go in. I know things line up. You always want to double check. Make sure that everything lines up before you start using epoxy, because you're not going to get a second chance. What you're going to get's a mess. So, I guess the first things first, I will get us some epoxy out. Start on one side. I'll drive the pins in the first handle, get them stuck through there like we did the bolsters, and I'll go ahead and apply it onto the side of the knife, and then we'll do the other side and clamp them down, let them dry. So, first things first, I guess we'll get some epoxy out here. I've got a game plan, so I know the steps I want to go in. And I've got these strips of G10 spacer material. They're going to go on each end of the handle, so it'll have a nice line of spacer this way across the back, and then underneath, and then of course on the ends next to the bolsters. It just give it an aesthetic look. Break the handle material up. It's going to look great. So let me get some epoxy out here. We're going to start with the left side, and we'll get to it. I've been waiting to get this done so we can get it shaped and finished and get all the finer details done to it, get the sheath made. I worked on these things every day, all day. I would be done with this knife, but unfortunately I don't have that option. So we all work for a living. Well, most all of us. That's a different subject. Okay, let's get some epoxy out here. That'll be enough to do it, I believe. If not, we'll put some more out there. Take our time getting it like we need it. No mistakes. I like being off on Friday, I tell you. I can get to the store and get some chores done. The only drawback is I have to work Sunday. I don't like to work on Sunday. A lot of people have that day off and they go to church and just lounge around and rest, which is not a bad thing. But we have to do what we have to do. Okay. Let's take this left scale, lay it up here on the vise. We'll take the first pin, we'll roll it around with some epoxy, and we'll tap it on through. You have to be careful with this handle material. This particular material is very hard, very brittle. So the last thing you want to do is go crazy on it and start hammering away like it's a 16 penny nail. So we'll take our time, take it easy. Okay, and then the last one. Don't take much epoxy. But you want to get some on these pins. Okay, so they're sticking through there pretty good. The reason being is they're going to have to go through the tang and the other handle. So just keep getting it. Now we want to put some epoxy on these slabs generously. Because you're inside the bolsters, you're not going to get the epoxy on the blade, and it'll all sand away. Any excess will just squeeze out, and it can be cleaned up. Work kind of fast here. When you get a direction to go in, you can work a little bit faster. You know, time is of the essence, and you don't want to drag your feet on it, but you don't want to go too fast to make mistakes. So now that we've got all that epoxied, we'll take what's left here and we'll spread a little out on the tang of the knife, just enough so it'll bond. Okay. Right, now we can go ahead and put it together. And these should line up pretty good. Coming through just fine. So we'll lay it up here. Let me open up this vise a little bit. Tap them on down. There's the first one. And we'll be clamping that down more once I get the other side. Excuse me, I got that bad habit again. Now let me pour out a little bit more epoxy right quick. We'll do the other side. Okay. We still have a few minutes for that other side. The first side sets up, so we'll keep that in mind that we're on the clock. Mix it up. It don't work if you don't mix it. Okay. Take it, apply it to the slab. Nice even coat. I like these tongue depressors. They work really good for spreading this stuff out. So far, they're the best thing I've used. I used to just take an old drill bit or something and do it, but that can get messy. Now we'll apply what's left to the tang. Spread it out. Like so. On them pins. what we're going to do, start that handle on there. Everything should line up. Just like that. We'll take and tap it on. Nice and easy. Till the pins start coming through. Lay it down here. Okay. And we're pretty close. Now what I want to do is get it off my fingers. Clean off the steel plate. We still have a couple minutes, so we're fine. I'm going to apply a little bit of clamping pressure to this thing, but it needs to be even. So let me grab a clamp. I want to set these handles where they're compressed all the way in, because it don't do any good if they're not. Make sure that they're sandwiched all the way up. And you'll see that epoxy start squirting out of there, which is not a bad thing. I can use it on the liners, and it's coming out just fine. Both sides. Still wet. That's enough. Once I do that in there, check it and make sure that I don't have any gaps. I'll move up to the front. I'll eventually have more than one clamp on this. Right now all I'm wanting to do is just make sure that the handle's pulled up tight. Okay. Get it all squeezed out. Okay. Clean off the excess. Okay, now loosen it back up. Now, I've got just about a minute or two, and this stuff will start setting up. So, I'll lay it on its side. I want to do my first two G10 spacers. Get them all coated in epoxy. Tell you what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to pour some more, because this right here is not going to work anymore. Okay, so I'll set that in there. It's a messy deal now, so no turning back. Got to keep getting it. So we'll spread out some more epoxy. That's empty. Let's spread it, mix it. A lot going on in 5 minutes, I'll tell you. But it's not hot today, so the temperature's good, and I don't have to worry about it setting up too fast on me. But what I do need to do is get all these in, so, and that's what I'm working on. Okay, there's the second one. Okay. Make sure it's all the way down. And it is. So we'll go to the front. Okay, there's the first one. And here's the second. Come on, baby. I know you want to go. Make sure it's all the way down. And it is. Flip it over. And do the other side. There's one. There's the front one. There's the second back one. Okay. Now I should have one more here. Tick top. There it is. Last one. Get all the epoxy I can. There we go. And set it up front. These are designed to fit really tight, so that's why they are harder to get in than they should be, but it gives a better fit and finish at the end. Make sure they're in. And they are. Give it another tap. Just to make sure they're both set. Check both sides. Alright, I'll clean my hands off the best I can so I can get that thing clamped down. Let's see, let's wipe it off with this here a little bit so our clamp don't stick to it. Okay. Now, let's peen these over. Don't hit it too hard. You will crack the handle. It don't take much on this nickel silver. That's it. Let's put a clamp on it. We'll set one right here, right in between the two pins. And we'll tighten it down like that. Check everything. I believe we're good to go. Let me round up another clamp right quick. I know I've got one here, several. Not a big one, but it don't have to be. I'll take a fresh, let's see, no I won't need, I don't want it to stick. But what I'll do is just run this down. Let me flip it over. All this is doing is keeping the handle flush to the tang. I don't want it to overpower or dig into the wood, but I want it to be snug and tight against the tang of the knife, no gaps. We don't want no gaps in the finished product. Checking it, make sure. You get a gap in it, you got to fill it with the same color as the handle. And that can be challenging. So there it is. A handled knife. Spacers, bolsters. Now all we got to do is just let it set for a few hours, and now start to profile and the grind on the handle. I know it don't look like much now, but you give it a day or two and it'll be a knife. We'll just chuck it in the vise and let it set. Okay. It's been a pretty busy morning. I got a lot on my plate, as usual. It's always something to do, whether it's working or at home working. But I love to do this. This is going to be a really nice piece. I'll probably post this one on Facebook or online in a couple knife forums I'm a part of. I think this one will be worthy. It's really going to be nice, especially after I get it all profiled. But I'll definitely have some pics. When I get it profiled, I'll get it cleaned up, and then I'll shoot a closing video explaining to everybody what I did, the process. Of course, you all know the process. I've videoed the whole thing. And I've left out some of the more tedious things like the sanding and the drilling, and nobody wants to sit and watch somebody do that. So, and I can appreciate that. Young knife makers, they learn how to drill out wood and steel long before they start making knives. And if they don't, then maybe I should take the time and go through some of those beginner steps, I guess. But the more advanced knife makers, they know all about that. So, well, there it is. Let's let it set up, and I'll get back with y'all after a while, and we'll get to work on cleaning it up. I appreciate you watching, and I apologize if I got anything wrong. If there's a knife maker out there that disagrees with anything I did, please share it with me so I can learn. I'm always learning something. Might be a different way of doing something. It could be something I just didn't do quite right. It could be in the heat treat. It could be in the assembly of the handle. It could be anything. If you have any disagreements or likes, just let me know and we'll talk. Like I said, if I can learn something, I will. If I can teach somebody something, I will. Thank you. I'm out.